Hey everyone, so it's late 2025 and you're looking at two of my favorite iPhones probably ever. On one hand, we've got the iPhone 13 Pro. This was my daily driver for a solid 2 years, a real workhorse. And on the other, the iPhone 15 Pro, which is my main phone right now. The big question is, 4 years after it came out, is the 13 Pro still a smart buy? Or, is it finally time to make that jump to something like the 15 Pro, especially now that you can find them on the used market? So in this video, we're going to talk about how these two actually feel today. Running the latest iOS 26, we'll cover the design, the performance, the real story with battery life on these older cells, the cameras, and yeah, we have to talk about Apple Intelligence and whether you're really missing out with the 13 Pro. Let's get into it. Alright, so first up, why these two specifically? Well, you have to remember, when the 13 Pro came out, it felt like a massive leap. It was the first Pro iPhone to get that super smooth 120Hz Pro motion display, and the battery life, especially on the Pro Max model, was just legendary. A lot of people, myself included, saw it as peak iPhone for a long time. It just nailed the formula. Then the 15 Pro arrived, and it wasn't about one giant leap, but a bunch of really smart refinements. We got the lighter titanium design, the action button, and the one everyone was waiting for, USB-C. It felt like Apple was listening and sanding down the rough edges. So this is my graphite 13 Pro and my natural titanium 15 Pro. And just for disclosure, everything I say about these pretty much applies to the Pro Max models too. The main differences are screen and battery size. And with the 15 Pro Max, that 5x telephoto camera, which we'll get to, I'll be sure to call out those differences and pull in what other users online are saying to make this useful for everyone. Okay, let's start with how they feel. Holding these side by side, the difference is immediate. The 13 Pro with its polished stainless steel feels dense, substantial. It has that premium, almost jewelry-like heft, but the 15 Pro's brushed titanium, it's just so much lighter. It's only a 9% weight reduction on paper, but because of the new contoured edges, it honestly feels like more. It's noticeably more comfortable to hold for a long time. Now about durability, so I had a total Butterfingers moment, dropped it from about head height onto a rough floor, and look, the natural titanium frame is basically perfect. No dents, no major scuffs. It's really tough. But the back glass, yeah, it shattered. The good news though is that starting with the 14 and 15 series, the back glass is way easier and cheaper to replace than it was on the 13 Pro. I've already ordered a replacement part and that the back glass has been delivered to me and I just replaced it by myself today. As you can see, it's pretty easy to replace and now my iPhone 15 Pro is perfect again. This is a huge point for the 15 Pro. Starting with the 14 and 15 series, the back glass is way easier and cheaper to replace than it was on the 13 Pro. So while the 13 Pro feels super solid, the 15 Pro is actually the more practical phone if you have an accident. Up front, you've got the classic design divergence. The 13 Pro has the notch, which, is fine. It's 20% smaller than the one before it and you forget it's there. The 15 Pro, of course, has the dynamic island, and honestly, after a couple of years, it's useful. I like the live activities and alerts up there. Is it a reason to upgrade on its own? Probably not, but it does make the phone feel more modern. As for the screens themselves, both have gorgeous Super Retina XDR displays with ProMotion. The 13 Pro was the pioneer here and its screen still looks incredible today. The 15 Pro's panel is technically brighter outdoors, 2000 nits peak versus 1200 nits, which you do notice in direct sunlight, but for indoor use they are both absolutely top tier. Okay, performance. Both of these are running the public stable release of iOS 26, and I gotta say Apple did a great job with this update. The new liquid glass animations and the overall fluidity are a huge step up from say iOS 18. It feels like a really mature OS and honestly both phones handle it beautifully. For just, daily stuff, scrolling, opening apps, swiping around the 13 Pro is still incredibly fast. Apps open quick, animations are smooth. You would not guess this is a 4-year-old chip. Now, one of the biggest things I noticed with older phones is apps reloading in the background. The 13 Pro has 6 GB of RAM, which was great for its time, and it's still pretty good. It's not constantly reloading things, but the 15 Pro has 8 GB of RAM, and you do feel that extra headroom when you're heavily multitasking. Apps just stay in memory a little bit longer. It's not a night and day difference, but it's there. I did run Geekbench 6 on both. The 13 Pro scored around 2,417 on single core and 5,766 on multi-core. The 15 Pro hit 2,829 and 7,272. So on paper, the A17 Pro and the 15 Pro is about 15 to 25% faster. You feel that most in heavy tasks like video exports or high-end gaming. Speaking of gaming, both are still gaming beasts. I can play demanding games like PUBG Mobile on high settings on the 13 Pro, and it's totally playable. It does get noticeably warm after a long session though. The 15 Pro with the A17 Pro's hardware accelerated ray tracing not only runs cooler but is also ready for those console level titles like Resident Evil that you just can't play on the 13 Pro. So if you're a serious mobile gamer, that's a big point for the 15 Pro. It's not just about being faster, it's about having access to a whole new class of games. Alright, let's talk battery, because this is probably the most important section for anyone buying an older phone. My 13 Pro, after years of use as a main and now secondary phone, is at 71% battery health. My 15 Pro, which I've had for about 2 years, is at 87% with 450 cycles. So what does 71% actually mean? It means the 13 Pro doesn't make it through a full day of moderate use anymore. I have to top it up in the afternoon if I'm using it a lot. The 15 Pro, even at 87%, easily gets me through a full day. I've also noticed the new adaptive power feature in iOS 26 seems to help the 15 Pro a bit, but it can't work miracles on a degraded battery like the one in my 13 Pro. And this is what everyone online says too. The 13 Pro and especially the 13 Pro Max were battery champions at launch. But after 3-4 years, that health drops. A lot of users on forums say getting the battery replaced by Apple for about $90 makes the phone feel brand new again, easily lasting all day. So if you're looking at a used 13 Pro, you should probably just factor that cost into your budget. For the 15 Pro, users report varied degradation, with some seeing faster drops than expected, but it's generally holding up better than older models did at the 2-year mark. The camera is where things get interesting. The 13 Pro has an incredible 12 megapixel main camera, the sensor is large, the lens is fast, and it produces amazing photos that still hold up today. The 15 Pro jumps to a 48 megapixel sensor, but by default, it combines pixels to give you a super detailed 24 megapixel photo. The photos from the 15 Pro are definitely sharper and you can crop in more, but some people actually prefer the more natural look of the 13 Pro shots. One weird thing some users have noticed, and I've seen it too, is that the 15 Pro's main lens can't focus as close up as the 13 Pro's could. It forces you into macro mode using the ultra wide lens sooner, which is technically impressive but uses a smaller sensor. It's a little quirk you get used to. For zoom, both the regular 13 Pro and 15 Pro have a fantastic 3x optical telephoto lens, but this is the biggest reason to consider the Pro Max models. The 15 Pro Max has a 5x optical zoom, which is a huge deal if you like to shoot subjects that are farther away. It's a much more significant jump in reach than the 3x, and it's a key differentiator. And for video creators, both of these shoot stunning video, including ProRes, which is amazing. But the 15 Pro has a killer feature for anyone serious about video. Thanks to USB-C, you can record that massive ProRes footage directly to an external SSD. That's a workflow game changer that the 13 Pro's Lightning port just can't handle. If you're just shooting for social media, the 13 Pro is incredible. But if you're a creator who needs to edit high quality files on a computer, that one feature on the 15 Pro will save you so much time. So what do you need to consider? For the 13 Pro, the biggest downside in 2025 is, without a doubt, the Lightning port. When your laptop, your headphones, everything else uses USB-C, having to keep this one special cable around is just annoying. And of course, the big one, it doesn't support Apple Intelligence. Now, for me, and this is just my opinion, it's not a deal breaker. You know, Apple Intelligence by now is like still on an early beta. It's cool for summarizing notifications and some writing tools, but I usually use alternatives that are more powerful like Gemini or ChatGPT, and I can just use their apps on the 13 Pro. So am I missing out? A little. Is it a reason to spend hundreds more? For me, not yet. For the 15 Pro, the main consideration is just the price. Even on the used market, it's gonna cost a good bit more than the 13 Pro, and some of the launch units had some overheating issues, but that's been pretty much solved with software updates now. Okay, so let's break it down. Which one should you get in 2025? I think the iPhone 13 Pro is for the value-conscious person. You want 90% of that premium iPhone experience, the amazing screen, the fast performance, a fantastic camera for a fraction of the price. You just have to be okay with using a lightning cable and maybe, just maybe, spending about $90 on a new battery to make it feel fresh again. The iPhone 15 Pro is for someone who values those modern quality of life features. You want the lighter design, the convenience of USB-C, the utility of the dynamic island and action button, and you want to be on board for the future of iOS with Apple Intelligence. You also get a more versatile and future-proof camera system, especially if you're a creator. Personally, I'm sticking with my 15 Pro as my daily driver, and I'm already thinking about the iPhone 17 Pro, but I'm also keeping this 13 Pro as a backup and for testing because it's just that good. It's proof that a great phone can stay great for a very long time. But I'd love to know what you guys think. Are you still rocking a 13 Pro? Did you upgrade to the 15 Pro? Let me know in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.